It's gonna be a quick little video. I finally got my Hulog connected and running and or sorted out. It's not really a plug and play type of situation. It's pretty involved to get everything to work together happily. So I've got the Moates Ostrich 2.0 and the Xtreme Hulog both hooked up and both working. And real quick, I'm going to show you how to hook them up, set them up, and how to data log. The first thing you need to do is download the USB drivers. Moates provides all the links to that and the website. I'll put a screenshot of that real quick and kind of show you where to go to download the drivers and to set them up. Once you download the drivers and you plug in your device, it'll automatically like set up, or it should, at least it did for me. But after that, these are the steps you need to do to actually make sure that the hardware is communicating with the computer. So here we go. So this is going to be a quick rundown of how to make sure your hardware is communicating with the computer. With me, I had to go to control panel, device manager, and go to the COM port that your hardware is using. Like my Ostrich right now, or I'm not sure what COM port 3 is actually. But if you go to port settings, you see the bits per second here, 38,400. That's an important number to you know, for the communication. Remember that number, 38,400. But not only that, but when you go to advanced settings, sorry if I lose you here, but recommended settings on the latency timer is 1 millisecond. Just make sure your settings match this. 4096 on the bits received and transmitted. Okay, but that 38,400 number, that's important because when you go into Chrome and you select the COM port that you're in, make sure this matches that the number we saw, 38,400. So as long as that's synced up, it should communicate. And make sure that, you know, port 1, whatever ports you assigned your hardware, it's got to be matching right here. COM port 1, and I think I'm using 3 for the other one. And then when you come into real-time programming, for me, it didn't work until I put 920000 for the baud. That's probably not even how you say that, but when I put that in there, it worked for me. Right, so I'm gonna go and start the car and data log real quick to show you how it works. So I'm gonna go ahead and click read, real-time update. So this is basically the view with just the Ostrich. You know, if you're going through the maps, the RPMs, the vacuum and boost, you got to guess where you're at. You might have to pull over, make adjustments. But with the Hulog, come over here to live tuning, and it highlights the area of the map you're in. And what's really cool is you can select single cell to pinpoint the exact cell that your car is in, or you can select quad, or, you know, row or column. There's different options here. This is more of a broad cell selection. Cell kind of, you know, pinpoints it. Okay, but what's really neat is whatever cell it's highlighted that the car is running in, when you go up or down, it'll make adjustments to that cell. There's no more finding the cell, clicking, and making adjustments. It's all live, on the fly. So easy and so convenient. I freaking love it. Live data logging, whatever you want to call it, tracing, whatever, all that shit. It's all working, and it's a life changer. It's I can't believe I was tuning without it. It'll float around wherever the car's running at, whatever RPM and boost or vacuum, and you just up and down on the fuel, up and down on the timing. You don't even have to look at the computer. You can just, all you got to do is look at your AFRs. And I still need to hook up the AFR signal wire to the computer. so that Crome is actually reading the AFR. Now I'm still looking at the gauge, but still I just have to drive and literally just up and down on the fuel trims, up and down on the timing. I haven't messed with timing, I'm just saying it's the same concept. But man, it pulls so much smoother and it feels a lot healthier, especially since I got the head gasket swapped out. I'm sure it had low compression on one of the cylinders, but it pulls very healthy now. Yesterday I adjusted the valves, the intake and exhaust. I did what was it, 7 intake, 9 exhaust. Fuck, I don't know, I was looking up like specs whenever I was doing it. Might be vice versa, I don't know. Did that. I threw in the BKR70 NGK spark plugs. I gapped them to 30 thousandths. My ball fan keeps popping fuses. I have a 20 amp fuse in there. That's what's in the... Oh, come on. Alright, so I already stuck the 25 amp fuse in there. See if that stops it from blowing. I know it's not shorting out or nothing. It's just, I know it's because that fan's drawing a lot of amperage. I got some 220 grit sandpaper. I'm gonna start with the front bumper. I'll probably rattle can it tomorrow, but it's got some cracks like through the paint. And whenever it's cracking like that, you got to sand it all the way down to the plastic so those cracks don't show up in the paint job. So yeah, this weekend it'd be cool if I could do the front bumper and the hood. That's gonna be I'm gonna set that as a goal for myself. Now what I'm working on doing is running a wire from the data output off my wideband gauge. I'm gonna run a wire through the dash to the computer. Honestly, don't even know what input it is right now, but if I hook it up to a certain input on the computer, it'll register the AFR in Crome. So just, you know, be that much more all in one. So yeah, I need to get this wire ran, and then I'll honestly just probably Google which pin the AFR data is supposed to go to and see if it registers in Crome when I'm done. Alright, I got it. It's a little rigged up right now, but I'll just kind of trying to figure this shit out because I haven't done this before. But what you want to do is grab the wire, the white wire off your wideband. This is a 0 to 5 volt reference. The blue one is the signal wire, but that's not what you need. What you need is actually the 5 volt reference. And this one actually goes to the O2 sensor input on the ECU, which is pin D14. And I'll show you which one that is because I didn't know exactly myself. It's gonna be on the bottom, 5th from the right, and it's gonna be by itself. That one in the middle that this little probe is going into, that's it right there. So once you get that, okay, so once you get it wired up and you got the wideband signal going to the ECU, you can I've already plotted a little bit here, but at first it wasn't working, and it turns out you got to set the conditions that it's going to record the AFR in the tables. And the conditions here, they're in settings and tuner logging, and you can set the conditions here. Okay, so here are the conditions. It's, you know, 5% throttle to 100%. Right here it's only 2nd, 3rd, and 4th gear. You know, set the temperature that it'll start recording and stop recording, so it won't start until it warms up. 60 degrees Celsius is like 140 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah, but so these are the conditions it has to be in to actually plot the AFR. So I was cruising on 1st gear, it wasn't working, I was getting frustrated, and I went to 2nd gear, and of course I started plotting. And this is what I'm looking at. It's kind of all over the place. I thought it was pretty dialed in, but it's not apparently. Okay, one more thing is you have to match the reading here to your gauge, and you have to do that by the offsets. So just go plus or minus until like right, you know, 14. This one's all over the place and this one's more steady. It seems like this one reads a lot faster than the actual gauge does. So I'm gonna actually say that this is more accurate, but I don't know, what do I know? So I'm gonna clear it, drive home, and show you all the plotting just from my drive home. Alright, so this is just from data logging on the way home, and it's kind of all over the place. I tried to get on it a couple times, and it's like when you're really laying on it, it takes a long time to actually populate that cell with the AFR reading. Like I went from what's that, 3 pounds of boost to 7. Like I did a good little pull up to like, what's the 5,000 RPM. It went from 11.9 to 11.8, and it kind of skipped over a couple cells, but I don't know. I guess you just got to really drive it for a while, make a couple pulls to really get a good idea of the entire map. But this is kind of cruising around and getting on it a little bit, and for the most part, it's, you know, it's 13s and 14s. There is this weird 17 situation here. I don't know what the hell what's up with that. That's kind of weird, but yeah. So what's really neat about this is I can see, like right here, it's pretty lean. That's kind of part throttle-ish, and I can go over to the fuel table and make my adjustments. Okay, there you go. Okay, so that makes sense. This is the cell that it was lean in. If you look at the map, it goes 182, 172, 178. That one cell is just has a little bit of a dip. So what I can do is add just a little bit. Oh, damn, I always do that. I forget that it actually adds in the cell that's highlighted when you're live tuning, and not the cell that you click on. That this cell could use a little bit more fuel, so I'm just gonna make it, I don't know, like 180 to kind of blend in with the cell above and below it. 179 is probably good. But yeah, that's what's really neat about being able to plot the AFRs, is you can find, you know, where the dips are, where it needs more or less. You know, I was happy because with the Hulog, it's like less, I actually have to look at the gauges and the computer and actually take my attention off the road. And it's even more so being able to plot the AFR. I can literally just drive it, make pulls, not even look at anything. I don't have to look at the gauges, I don't have to look at the computer. And then after I'm done, I can go back and see, you know, what was what AFR was where, what needs adjustments. It's recording it for me, and I can go back and make adjustments. So it's just awesome. Yeah, even though Crome is old, it's been around forever, it's amazing me. Maybe I'm just easy to impress, I don't know. Subscribe, it really helps, and comment below if you have any questions, or if you want your video featured, shoot me in on Facebook or Instagram, something like that. I'll feature it on my channel. But thanks for watching. See you next one. I'm gonna neutral slam it.
The fuck? You still haven't fixed that?
Oh, bullshit to that too, huh? Episode 2 of the, fuck, what's the title? Hold on.